Welcome to the Secret Life of Ordinary Things podcast. I'm Cassian from Ink and Echo by Havlo Eve, and today I'm introducing my friends Alex and Ari, who will be discussing the secret life of toilet paper. This podcast has been developed from my book series, which is available on Amazon. Just search for The Secret Life of Toilet Paper or Cassian Havlo to discover more. So sit back, relax, and prepare to see the everyday objects around you in an entirely new light, as Alex and Ari casually chat about the hidden story of something we all use but rarely think about.
You know, it strikes me how we interact with certain objects every day, almost unconsciously, without ever really considering their backstory. Toilet paper is just such a perfect example. It's there.
Absolutely. It's so ubiquitous, but if you actually dig into it a little, like we have, you find this surprisingly intricate tale. It touches on ancient habits, our own psychology, even some really big global issues.
Right. And that's exactly what we've been doing. We've sifted through, historical accounts of hygiene, looked into early patents and advertising, which is a story in itself, plus psychological studies, and some pretty serious environmental reports.
Yeah, the sources are really diverse for this one.
So our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack the story of toilet paper, to sort of illuminate its hidden journey through history and its unexpected impact on us and the planet. Okay, so to start this, let's go way back. Get the soft quilted stuff for a moment.
Yeah.
What on earth did people do before toilet paper was even a thing?
That is the foundational question, isn't it? For most of human history, people basically improvised. They used whatever was available locally.
Like what? Leaves and stuff.
Yeah, leaves, definitely. But also things like, take ancient Greece, for instance. They used something called pessoi, basically smooth clay or stone pebbles. Yeah, but what's really fascinating is that some of these weren't just functional. They actually found some with names of political rivals scratched onto them.
No way, like ancient graffiti.
Exactly. Talk about wiping away the competition, huh? It just shows how even, basic bodily functions could get tangled up with politics.
Wow, that's quite a visual political commentary at its most fundamental level. Okay, what about the Romans? I always picture that sponge on a stick thing. Is that real?
Oh, the dressorium. Yes, that's absolutely real. A sponge fixed to a stick was the Roman tool, especially in public bathhouses.
Public bathhouses? Wait, was it shared?
It was indeed a communal tool. They rinsed it in vinegar or salt water between users.
Oh, wow. Okay. Definitely highlights a very different approach to hygiene and sharing than we have today.
You could say that. And elsewhere, people adapted. Leaves, like you said, corn cobs, moss, sometimes pieces of cloth were common.
Corn cobs. Ouch.
Well, it depends on the corn cob, I suppose. In Japan, they used chugi, which were wooden sticks, sort of like scrapers.
Okay.
And in the Middle East, the tradition of using water and the left hand for cleansing became really established, and that continues today, of course.
Right. And didn't paper show up early somewhere? China?
Yes, good point. We do see early use of paper specifically for hygiene in China way back in the 6th century, but it wasn't like, modern toilet paper, not rolled or perforated, more like just sheets of paper.
So paper existed for this purpose, but it took ages, really, for it to become the commercial toilet paper we know in the West. When did that happen?
That big shift really starts in the mid-19th century, 1857 actually. An American named Joseph Gaiety, what he called medicated paper for the water closet.
Medicated paper, what did that mean?
They were individual flat sheets, and they were infused with aloe. He marketed them very much as a health product, claiming medicinal benefits, not just convenience, but actual health.
Sounds more like something from an old pharmacy than a supermarket aisle. So why wasn't it an instant success? Seems like a good idea.
Well, several reasons. It was a totally new concept, first of all. People weren't really looking for a specific product for this. Plus, it was relatively expensive compared to, free leaves or old catalogs.
Right.
But the real game changer, the thing that made it much more user-friendly, was the invention of the perforated roll. That came along in the 1870s, patented by a guy named Seth Wheeler.
Ah, the perforated roll. The unsung hero of the modern bathroom. Finally, convenience. But I gather it still wasn't smooth sailing, even then.
No, not quite. There was this huge societal awkwardness, a reluctance to openly discuss or advertise toilet paper. It was considered kind of indelicate, a bit taboo.
Hard to imagine now, but yeah, I can see that.
So early marketing had to be really subtle. The Scott Paper Company, for example, had a clever strategy. They often sold their rolls under the brand names of fancy hotels like the Waldorf.
Ah, so it gave it an air of respectability, like if the Waldorf uses it.
Exactly. It made it seem more discreet, more acceptable. People were buying it, but it wasn't something you'd, chat about openly.
It's fascinating how something so essential was once kind of secret. It really shows how much cultural norms can shift. Okay, so we've gone from pebbles to perforated rolls. But the story takes a really weird, unexpected turn much more recently with the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, absolutely. That period was incredibly revealing about our relationship with toilet paper.
The hoarding. I mean, everyone remembers the empty shelves. It's bizarre.
It really was. Suddenly, this everyday, abundant item became scarce or perceived as scarce. And it transformed, didn't it? It became more than just paper. It became a symbol.
A symbol of what, though? Control. Comfort.
I think both. In a time of huge uncertainty, when everything felt out of control, stocking up on toilet paper was maybe one small thing people felt they could control. It represented a basic level of comfort, hygiene, normalcy.
Yeah, that makes sense. But why toilet paper specifically? I mean, people bought extra pasta and canned goods, sure. But the frenzy around toilet paper seemed unique. Were paper towels hoarded like that? I don't think so.
That's a great question. I think it taps into something deeper. It's direct link to personal hygiene, feeling clean. That's really fundamental to our sense of well-being, maybe even dignity. The thought of running out is uniquely unsettling.
A primal need almost.
Perhaps. And you're right, other paper goods saw demand rise. The intensity around toilet paper hoarding was different. Maybe also because the packages are so big and visible, empty shelves are just more dramatic.
Yeah, that could be part of it too. It's tied to privacy, intimacy, something very fundamental. And even outside of pandemics, our little toilet paper habits can be weirdly revealing, can't they? Like the whole over or under debate.
Oh, don't start. The over or under wars, or fold versus scrunch.
Exactly. People have strong opinions. It seems trivial, but maybe it's not entirely.
Well, probably not deep psychoanalysis, but perhaps these little preferences reflect a desire for order, control, consistency in our very personal spaces. Small rituals that provide comfort.
It's amazing how much meaning we can pack into something so mundane. But okay, all this comfort, this convenience, it comes at a pretty steep environmental cost, doesn't it? Let's shift gears to that side of the story.
Yes, this is absolutely crucial and, frankly, often ignored. The vast majority of the toilet paper we use, especially here in North America, is made from virgin wood pulp.
Virgin pulp meaning straight from trees, not recycled.
Exactly. And a huge amount of that pulp comes from places like the Canadian boreal forest. These are old-growth forests, vital ecosystems, massive carbon sinks. They're incredibly important for climate regulation.
Wow. So we're literally flushing ancient forests down the toilet. That's sobering.
It is. The connection is very direct, and the scale is enormous. And it's not just the trees themselves. The production process is incredibly resource-intensive.
Water, I assume.
Tons of water. Estimates vary, but it's something like 37 gallons of water to produce one single roll of toilet paper.
37 gallons for one roll. That's staggering when you think about how much we use globally.
It really is. Millions upon millions of trees, billions and billions of gallons of water every year, all for a product designed to be used for seconds and then just disappear.
It definitely makes you question the obsession with ultra soft, pillowy, triple ply paper made from virgin forests.
Right. There's a real tension there. We have eco-friendly alternatives, recycled paper, bamboo toilet paper, even reusable cloth options are emerging.
But they haven't really taken over, have they?
Yeah.
Why is that, do you think? Still that perception issue?
I think perception is a huge part of it, especially in North America. There's this strong association between virgin pulp and softness, quality, even luxury. Recycled or bamboo options are often seen as, less comfortable, less premium.
Even if they're perfectly fine.
Exactly. Consumer habits are hard to change, and marketing definitely pushes the softness angle hard. Plus, availability and sometimes price can be factors too. It's that classic conflict. Immediate personal comfort versus longer-term environmental sustainability.
Yeah, a tough balance. So looking ahead then, what's the future hold? Are we stuck with flushing forests, or are there real changes on the horizon? What does the future of clean look like?
Well, there are definitely some interesting trends and possibilities. If you look east to countries like Japan and South Korea, you see a very different approach.
The famous Japanese toilets.
Right. Smart toilets are incredibly common there. They have integrated bidets for water washing, air dryers, heated seats, sometimes even health sensors. It points towards a future where water, not paper, is the primary cleaning method.
And bidets are catching on more here in the West too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Especially since the pandemic shortages. I know people who've installed them now.
Absolutely. The pandemic definitely gave bidets a boost in awareness and adoption over here. It made people rethink their reliance on paper.
So water seems key. Any other innovations?
There are some novel ideas being explored. Things like spray-on toilet paper, sort of a foam cleanser, reusable cloths with special antimicrobial finishes are being developed, foam-based cleansers that reduce water use compared to traditional bidets.
Oh, around toilet paper. Okay, that's new.
It's all in development, but it shows people are thinking differently. It's actually quite possible that our current method, dry paper wiping, might eventually be seen as, well, a bit primitive and certainly less sustainable.
It's wild to think about. From stones and sponges to potentially foam sprays and smart toilets, what a journey for something so simple.
It really is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the main thing you hope people take away from this whole exploration of toilet paper?
I think the biggest takeaway is just how much history and complexity can be hidden in the most ordinary objects around us. Toilet paper seems mundane, but its story connects to ancient societies, modern psychology, global economics, technology, and huge environmental questions.
Yeah.
It encourages you, hopefully, to look a bit closer at the everyday things, to appreciate the stories they hold, the systems they're part of.
Definitely. Maybe the next time you reach for that roll, you'll pause for just a second and think about the Pessoa, or Seth Wheeler, or the boreal forest.
Maybe so.
Now for our next deep dive, we're swapping the bathroom for the fruit bowl. We're going to peel back the layers on the story of the orange.
Ah, another seemingly simple one.
Exactly. But trust me, it's about way more than just vitamin C. We're talking ancient empires, major scientific discoveries, wartime propaganda, surprisingly complex environmental trade-offs. It's going to be juicy. You'll never look at an orange the same way again.
Sounds fascinating. Looking forward to that one.
Me too. And on that note, here's a final thought for you to ponder from today's discussion. Thinking of the environmental side of things we talked about, are there any small, maybe even unexpected adjustments you might consider in your own hygiene routine after hearing all this? Something to think about. Thanks for exploring the depths with us today. We'll catch you next time.
And that concludes this episode of the Secret Life of Ordinary Things podcast, where Alex and Ari have taken us on a fascinating journey through the hidden world of toilet paper. I'm Cassian from Ink and Echo by Havlo Eve, and I hope you've enjoyed this unexpected exploration of something we use every day but rarely consider. If you enjoyed this conversation and want more content like this, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Your support helps this podcast grow, and we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you'd like to dive deeper into the secret lives of ordinary objects, check out my book series on Amazon. Just search for The Secret Life of Toilet Paper or Cassian Havlo. Join us next time when we'll uncover the surprising story behind another everyday item. Until then, remember to look a little closer at the ordinary things around you. They all have a story to tell.